This is J. Krishnamurti's third public question and answer meeting in Saanen, 1971.
Shall we turn this morning's meeting to young people's dialogue? Would you like that? Are the old people saying yes or the young people? Shall we do that? All right, it's up to you. And also, if I may point out, there are a lot of cameras about. They won't take photographs. I know, I saw it. This is we are serious people, we are not taking photographs, autographs and all that nonsense. So please, I beg of you, don't take photographs of me at all. Take photographs of yourselves or of each other, but not of me. It only, here, I know people have been taking cinema, and though they have been asked not to, but they go on. So please, I beg of you, no, don't do it. Oh Lord, is there any difference between the young and the old? I'm afraid there is. We are older and they are younger. We are going and they are coming. And they may be like the rest of us when they grow up. So, shall we turn this morning's discussion or dialogue for the young people? If that is what is generally desired, then what shall we talk over together? Sense of humor, and laughter. Sense of humor and laughter. I don't know. Should we want to? How to avoid growing up into a hypocritical world? I haven't caught you. Does this awareness, does this watching lead to self-centered activity more and more? Does it make one more self-centered? Is that the question, sir? Action in daily life. Go on, sir, what is it you want?
Psychological security always is a motivating factor in all action.
What is the question, sir?
will, the harmony between the mind, the heart, and the body. Most of your discussions have been concerned with the mind, with that portion. Could you perhaps go in a little deeper into the relationship of the heart, whatever that is, and the body to the totality of the whole person? What does it mean that we're close?
What's that?
What does it mean that we're close?
What does it mean to?
That we are close. That we are close.
False.
That we are close. What does it mean that we are close?
False. F-A-L-S-E. Shall we begin by that question, what do you mean by harmony between the mind, the heart and the body? Shall we discuss that? Yes. That might be rather fun. There is your answer. Harmony, laughter and... And the gentleman said, you have been talking mostly about the mind. And rather neglecting the heart and the body, the organism. So, he says, please go into this whole question of harmony between the three. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
So what do you mean, what do we mean by harmony? Balance. Not contradiction, not in opposition, not fragmented. All the three working simultaneously, easily, without any friction. A sense of unity, not compelled, not directed, not controlled, but flowing easily, harmoniously, fully, deeply, without any sense of distortion. Would you say that is somewhat by what we mean harmony? Would you agree, would you say that? In which the mind, the capacity to think neurotically or sanely, objectively or subjectively, which doesn't pull in opposite direction from the heart, and the heart doesn't pull in opposite direction from the, and so on. So that there is no contradiction, there is no tension, there is no sense of imbalance between the three. Right? Do we see, understand verbally what we mean by harmony? Do we agree to that? The definition, I'm only defining. We're not saying what it is or what it is not. We're just examining the word harmony. Then, are we harmonious? Taking the mind being the brain, thought, the intellect, with all the memory experience stored up, and the heart, that's the façon de parler, vous savez, heart, and the heart not desiring one thing and suppressing it, suppressed by the mind, not being jealous, not envious, quiet, that sense of richness, beauty, perfume, love, a sense of, heightened perception. And the body, quiet, functioning easily, not having eaten too much or too little, not too much indulgence or too much restraint, eating the right kind of food so that the stomach, the intestines and everything functions easily with some fullness, right? Do we live that way? Let us take the fact, actually what we are. For most of us, there is no harmony in the sense we have used that word, between the mind, the body, and the heart. Because most of us are torn apart. We overindulge, we eat the wrong kind of food, our bodies have been neglected, and therefore it has lost its intelligence. And we smoke, we drink, we drug, you follow? The whole of that. Overactive, overstimulated, sexually, and the heart never constant, never steady, pursuing emotional expressions, satisfying demands, and so on. Jealous, envious, comparative. And the mind living in the past. What a lovely day it was yesterday. What lovely memories I had when I was young. The whole of that. That's our life, isn't it? No? Is that the life of the older people? And is that the life of the younger people? Are the younger people different in that sense than the older people? Are the younger people living a harmonious life? Or a life of laissez-aller, permissive, a life of revolt against the established order? And revolt is not revolution, right? So, do we start ideologically saying we must be harmonious, having the definition and making that into a formula, a concept, and then trying to live according to that? Or take facts as they are, that one does live rather a shoddy, unhealthy, contradictory, distorting life, sexually and mentally incapable of consecutive thought and reason capacity? That's the fact, isn't it? Do we take facts as they are, as we are, or do we pursue an ideal of what harmony is and try to imitate that? Go on, sir. If I have a concept of harmony, you understand what that word concept, to conceive a formula, to project an idea of what I should be, live a harmonious life. And the projection becomes the ideal. And according to that ideal, projected by my desire to live a harmonious life, and trying to live according to that formula, concept, there is this constant imitation of what I should be. And therefore in that there is conflict, isn't there? Right? So, the very conflict is disharmony. Right? Isn't that so? That is, I have an ideal that I must lead a kind of life, eat the right food, not drink, not whatever it is. After experimenting with myself, I must not. And I must have a loving heart. And I mustn't be jealous, I mustn't be envious, I mustn't be ambitious, I must be a vegetable. And I mustn't live in the... You follow? All these are projections of what I should be. Right? Right? Do please. This is your... And the ideal is fictitious, is not a reality, but what is a reality is what is. Right? Can we start that? Now, my question is, how am I, who live a life of disharmony, how am I to live a harmonious life? Not how am I to copy a harmony. You understand the difference? Are we clear on this? Huh? We are not discussing what should be, what kind of ideals we should have, and live according to that ideals. That is the culture in which we have been brought up. And if you are really young, you are in revolution, not in revolt. Therefore, you seeing the falseness of ideals, then you deal with what is. Right? So, reject, please bear in mind, we are discussing this. We are rejecting the harmonious ideal of life. But we are talking over together whether it is possible to live now a harmonious life. If you have an ideal, you are trying to imitate that ideal. And where there is imitation, there is not only conformity, there is conflict, there is fear that you are not living up to your standard. So, you feel inferior. So all the complexity of inferiority. from that inferiority all kinds of neurotic actions. So when you understand really the falseness of ideals, then you see actually what you are, right? Is that clear? Can we start from there? Or do you want to start with ideals? Please, don't come back to ideals. You have finished with it. That's the game of the old people. Sorry, the old people. So, one lives a distorted, a life in which there is no harmony, a life of contradiction, a life of hypocrisy, thinking one thing, doing another, saying something else. All those are indications of contradiction, imbalance, a life of no harmony. That is the fact. Now, I want to find out how to change that fact, not how to become the ideal which I have projected. You see the difference? I am concerned with changing what is. And is it possible to change a mind, a heart, and a body which have acquired a great many habits? Smoking, drinking, you know, habits. And when we are young, the desire to follow the crowd, the young crowd. You know? So, shall we discuss that? Right? What do you say? Huh? What do you say? Shall we? Right. Now what do you... I'm not discussing it. You are sharing with me. The young crowd conforms to the old crowd. The young generally conform. A group of long-haired people, if I come there, I feel rather lost because I have short hair. They have certain habits, certain way of dressing, certain way of walking, dirty, whatever they do. And if I don't fit in, I feel rather left out. So out of fear, out of the desire for conformity, out of belonging, identifying myself through them, I grow long hair, get dirty, all the rest of it. Now, these are all obvious facts. Now, how am I who lead a life of imbalance, not balanced life, what am I to do? Shall we start from there? Right? Now, shall I start with the body? Listen to it carefully. With the body, with the organism, or with the mind? The mind being the capacity to think, the capacity to understand, the capacity to be logic or illogic, the mind that says, I must not, the mind that says, I must control my body. Where shall we begin, with the body or with the mind? Huh? With the heart? Right. Do you want to begin with the heart? That's what I want to find out. You are saying there is an intimate relationship between them all. And to understand that intimate relationship between them all, where shall I begin? You know, sir, consider this. The monks, whom you say, well, that's silly people, and brush them aside, don't do that. Examine it. The monks said, let's begin by taking a vow of chastity, poverty, humility, which is the same all over the world. This applies in India, in Japan, in Europe, and so on. That is, they began with the outward thing. Right? The outward expression of their assertion that they are trying to live a life different from the rest of the world. You understand, sir? In India, a man who renounces the world puts on a loincloth, right? Or a robe, and that shows that he doesn't belong to the herd. He is different. You understand all this? Are you following all this? By putting on a robe, which is generally goes with a monk, that very outward expression gives him a certain standing, right? And wherever he goes in India only, whether it's the north, south, east and west, he is fed, looked after. That is the tradition. Because outwardly, he has renounced the world, but inwardly, he is full of, you follow? Poor chap. Inwardly, he is in battle. He daren't look at a woman. And when he eats, he must eat so much and no more. You follow? So he is in battle within himself all the time. So where do you begin? With the outward appearance of long hair, beard, dress any old way? Or think any old thing, feel any old way, yield to sex if you like it, and so on. Where shall we begin? With the heart, with the mind, or with the body? You decide. What's that? Testaments are the train. What is the listening? What is the connection between, what is the relationship between social reform and unconditioning? Sir, please, sir, we are discussing harmony at the moment. We'll come back to that question a little later.
Maybe we should inquire which is the most encompassing concept, whether the heart or whether the mind encompasses the heart and the body, or whether the body is simultaneously the mind and the heart.
Is there such difference, or is there not an interrelationship between the mind, the heart and the body? Interrelated. You cannot separate each one as though some kind, you follow? They're all interrelated, obviously. Psychosomatic. Soma means the body, and psyche is psychosomatic movement. Now, to understand, please listen to this, to understand this whole structure in which there is the mind, the brain, the heart, and the whole structure, where shall we begin? Shall we begin at any, it's a whole thing, you follow? If I begin with the mind or with the heart, or it is the same. No? I'll put it differently. I see the interrelationship between the body, heart, and the mind.
Sir,
You.
can I ask you a difference between the harmony and egoism? If we are thinking about
What is the difference between harmony and egotism? Egotism is disharmony. No? If I am thinking about myself, how I'm big, how I'm small, what are my problems, I must be this way, I should sit that way, I must meditate, I must not meditate, there is no God, there is God. You follow? Thinking about myself, my problems all day long, obviously, that brings about a sense of isolation and therefore no relationship with another, and also it brings about an exaggeration of myself, and therefore disharmony. That's fairly simple. The egotistic person is essentially a human being who has no harmony. Full stop. Let's waste time on that. Now, you see, sir, this is really an important question. Do pay little attention to this. Shall I begin by watching the body, what it should eat, why it eats, why it indulges? You follow? And yielding to the taste of the tongue and eating more and more? Or shall I watch it? Shall I watch this whole structure from an emotional standpoint? Because I'm an emotional person. I love people. I have pleasure seeing people. I look at the mountains, say, oh, lovely they are. And also I look at my thoughts. I say, how stupid these little thoughts are. So, knowing all are interrelated with each other, that's it. Where is the central clue, central point from which to start understanding of the three? You got it? Have I made it clear?
Sir, wouldn't it be, if we could examine the thing in such a way that it could happen now?
And I'm doing that, sir. Just hold a minute.
Because there is no time involved.
Of course, no time. Do listen, sir. First, listen to my question. I know your question, sir. Hold to your question, but first, listen to the speaker's question. Listen to it first. There are these three elements which compose the human being: the mind, the heart, and the body. The whole of that. Is there a point or a central point which, awakened, will deal with the three as a whole? Big one? Surely it is the mind. You have understood my question? Therefore, what does that mean? His gentleman says, watching. Watching the body, watching the all the feelings one has, which is called heart and all that, love, jealousy, and watching the operations of the mind. Watching, right? That is being watchful, being alert, being aware. If the mind, if I can be aware, how be aware the operations of the mind, the operations of my feelings, and how I eat, what I eat, if aware, perhaps then I could understand each one. You get? So the importance is watching. Right? Being aware of the mind with all its thoughts, its cunning, its motives, its deceptions, saying, I won't take photographs of you, but subtly taking photographs of me, all the rest of it. Watching. And also watching my feelings, how easily I'm hurt, because I can't get my way. I'm hurt because I want to be a big man and you treat me like a little man. Hurt. So watching. Watching what I eat, how I eat, how quickly I eat, what kind of appetite I have. You follow? Watching. Now, if that is the central thing, you understand, watching, then my next question is, how am I to watch? You follow? What is implied in watching? Go on, sir. Huh? Gentleman says acceptance. Is that watching? When I accept what is that watching? No, don't say no. Look, you are doing it with me. Please do it with me. That's what I'm coming to. How do you watch? Because the manner of your watching teaches you everything. The manner of watching helps you to learn. But if you don't know how to watch, you can't learn. Right? If I don't know the art of listening, I can't learn. So I must find out what it means to watch, what it means to observe. Mustn't I? Now, next question. How do I observe my mind? Please listen to how do I observe the mind? How do I observe the movement of my demands for happiness, pleasure? You follow? Excitement. And how do I watch the body? So I must find out the art of watching. Now, is the art of watching to be cultivated? Please listen. Cultivation implies time. Doesn't it? I will watch today a little bit, tomorrow I will watch a little more, and at the end of the year I shall be completely watching. That is, the cultivation of watching takes time. Right? Which means when you take time, you're not watching. Right? When you say to yourself, look, at the end of the year, I'll be very good at watching. In the meantime, you're not watching. Are you? So, watching, observing, seeing is not the result of cultivation, system, or time. Right? Please, come on. Right, sir? Be quite sure that that watching doesn't imply any kind of time. So I must find out what it is that doesn't imply time. That is, when I watch myself, it's very complex, this is, please. When I watch myself, which is the mind, the body, the heart, which is myself, how am I watching? Am I watching in order to change what I see? Right? Change, which means reject and keep some. Saying to myself, this is good, this is bad, I'll throw away the bad and keep the good. So if I watch myself with the eyes of condemnation, judgment, evaluation, then I am watching myself with the eyes of the past. Right? You see the truth of that? That is, when I watch myself with a condemnatory attitude, then I am not watching, I am judging. If I am watching in order to overcome it, I am not watching. Right? So, if you see the truth that in watching, if there is any kind of judgment, any kind of evaluation, try to overcome, escape, that prevents watching. If you see the truth of that, immediately watch without any of that. Right? So, look, you want to do something without time, I'm showing it to you.
Sir, does, along with evaluation and condemnation, does also recognition of what you see imply time?
Recognition. Look, he says, apart from condemning, judging, evaluating, what part recognition plays in it? I'll show you. I'm angry. I have said I must not judge, I mustn't condemn. You follow? I see the truth of it, therefore that's gone. I'm no longer judging, but there is the recognition of anger. Right? Now, what takes place there when I recognize? I have named it, haven't I? Right? No? Come on, don't go to sleep, please. I've recognized it, haven't I, as anger. That means I have been angry before many times, and that has left a mark on the brain, and that brain now says that is anger. Verbally, it has stated it is anger. The very word anger has connotation, that is, don't be angry. Because that's part of our culture, part of our inheritance. We mustn't be angry. Or indulge in anger. You follow? So, are you following all this? Yes, sir.
In the rejection of evaluation and condemnation, there is no long hair or short hair.
No longer?
No longer any long hair or short hair.
That's right.
All right. But there's still recognition.
Of course. You've got long hair. But in that recognition there is no judgment. I can't help it. That's a tall tree. I don't mistake the tall tree for an elephant. But just a minute, go into it. But when I recognize that I'm angry, there's quite a different movement taking place. The very naming it is condemning it. because I have named it in order to fix it as anger, which the generations have said don't be angry. Therefore, I'm saying that. So, is there an observation without judgment, evaluation, though I recognize it and not attached to the past? You follow this? It isn't so simple as all this. So, when you see that, the truth of that, then you are watching completely without any obsession. Now, can you do that now? No, don't say no. Now, wait a minute. He said, when I'm watching, the questioner says, there is a tenseness in the body. Are you watching with your body? Are you watching with the eyes? Or are you watching not with the eyes? You understand what I mean? How are you watching, sir? Are you watching yourself with eyes closed or watching yourself with eyes open? You can do both, can't you? Huh? So what do you mean by watching? Go on, sir. Why should the body be in tension when you are watching? Which means either you are watching with tension in your mind, and therefore the tension is transferred to the body, or you are watching without any interference of the mind or of the body, just watching. When you are watching with an image, when you are watching yourself with the idea that there must be change, then there is tension, right? But if you're just watching, look, sir, suppose if I have a habit of scratching myself or fiddling with my fingers, right? Haven't you got habits like that? Fiddling with your fingers or doing something. Can you watch it without wanting to change it, without wanting to stop it? Just watch it. Haven't you done it? Oh Lord, you don't mean to say, please. Then you will see, if you watch it, there is no strain. But if you say, I must not fiddle with my fingers, right? I tighten up. But if I just watch it, in that there is no tension. That's simple enough. Let's go on. So what is important is how I watch. That's really important. So, watching, listen to this. Has it anything to do with the mind, with the heart, or with the body? I'm not saying it has or it has not. We are inquiring. I'm watching. Is watching a conclusion by the mind I must watch? A determination and therefore will? If there is will in operation, there must be tension. Right? Oh no. What? I'm going to go into that, sir. Go slowly with me. So I'm asking, what is watching? is watching the result of determination, therefore it's part of the mind, right? Says, I must watch. Because I must lead a harmonious life. That is, thought says to itself, I must be harmonious. Therefore, thought is watching. You following? Is that clear? When thought is watching, there is tension. Thought says, I must watch. I must sit still. I mustn't fiddle with my fingers. Then thought exercises its determination to watch. And in that watching, there is the operation of will. And where there is operation of will, there is resistance. And when there is resistance, there is tension. Right? So I'm asking, are you watching with the determination of thought? Right? Or are you watching independent of thought? And therefore, what does that independent of thought mean? See, please, Hadis, go into it. You see, you can't sustain a long, steady inquiry. You go to pieces in the middle of it. Just a minute, sir. You see, I'm saying, listen, you can't sustain sequential observation. Step by step, and sustain it. Because I see you give attention a couple of seconds and gone. This requires watching. Not concentration, but watching. In watching, you're learning. I'm doing that now. I say, when I'm watching, if there is in that watching any operation of thought, that must inevitably result in tension, in contradiction, in resistance, because it is the determination of thought to achieve harmony. And therefore it says, I must. So I've learned. I'm asking myself, then what is watching? If it isn't thought, then what is this quality of watching in which there is no thought? Go on, sir. Is it the heart watching? Emotion, the desire, the feeling, how beautiful it must be. You follow, if I live a harmonious life, what lovely thing it will be. Getting excited by the image of harmony, which is also a resistance. So am I watching with any kind of resistance? You follow? And is that watching related to the mind, to the heart, or to the body? Or is it something outside of it? Wait, I'm not saying it is, don't jump to it. I'm asking, inquiring. When there is no resistance, no operation of will, right? No acceptance or denial, just watching. Is that watching the exercise of thought? We said no, right? Are you quite sure? Oh, Lord. If it is the exercise of thought, then thought is watching, right? And thought says, I'm watching because I want to get somewhere. I must get rid of my imbalance. I must not be neurotic. Thought is an operation. Because thought has been instructed by listening to this talk that it must live a harmonious life. And thought, according to that instruction, is trying to live. Because it wants to live a harmonious life. It doesn't matter what it means, but it wants to. So, thought is not watching. Right? Emotion isn't watching. Obviously. If I say, I love to, you follow? Then it's lost. So what is then watch? What is the quality of watching? Do live with it for 2 minutes. Don't answer me, please. Just look at it. It's not thought, obviously, right? You're quite sure. Moment it is thought, thought is memory. The old thought then says, I must not. Then in that there is contradiction, and therefore that's not watching. We've been through that. Therefore, watching is not the product of thought. Listen to it carefully. You have it if you go step by step. It is not emotional, aggressive assertion that I must watch. It's not getting enthusiastic about watching. So what is watching? Now listen to it carefully. I'll repeat this. You will see it. It is not thought. Because thought has said, I'll watch. In watching it has discovered it is operating from the past. Right? That it must achieve harmony. Because it has heard some person say, you must live a harmonious life. Therefore it says, I must. It must be a marvelous state. So thought wants to live a life of harmony. And thought cannot live a life of harmony because thought is the response of memory, which is the past. Right? Harmony means living now. Right? So it's not thought. I've learned that. The mind has learned it is not thought. Therefore, what is it? It is intelligence, isn't it? Right? Now, it is intelligence that's watching. Impersonal? What? Have we? So don't bring in personal or impersonal. First see that when thought interferes, there must be tension. There must be operation of will. There must be resistance. There must be overcoming. Because thought can only function in terms of the past. Obvious, right? Unless you see that, see the truth of that, you will still be watching with thought. What's up? No, not quite, sir. Look, sir.
It seems that the way you have explained it, that thought allows itself to be whatever it is, and at the same time is aware of itself in that state.
That's right. Now, sir, look. What is analysis? I'm going back to follow a little bit. Analysis is observation, isn't it? A form of observation, right? No? No? I watch. And watching myself, I say, I've been angry. Why I've been angry? The explanations, the cause, the justification, all that is part of analysis, which is part of thought, isn't it? And analysis takes time. And at the end of it, I say that anger was justified or that anger is not justified. Therefore, I must be watchful next time. I'll get only angry when it's justified righteous anger and irrighteous, right. So look what is happening. Then a thought is awakened to anger and watching anger, right? Then what takes place? The thought is the observer, isn't it? Then the observer is different from the thing which observes is anger, right? So in that observation there is contradiction and therefore conflict. Therefore the observer says, I must get rid of anger. So, in looking at thought, observing, not saying I must not use thought, I must use thought, in observing thought and all the activities of thought, out of that observation comes intelligence. This intelligence is the result of observation of the workings of thought. So, now, that intelligence is watching, right? Is watching the mind, watching the body, watching the heart. That intelligence says, don't eat that food. Listen to this carefully. Because yesterday you had pain, give it up. And because intelligence is operation, you give it up instantly. Wait, no. Listen, I knew. I said, sir, intelligence is not thought. Intelligence comes into being in observing the operations of thought. Observing, not condemning it or accepting it, just watching thought. Right? How thought operates. That's, watch it. Yourself you will see. In that watching, intelligence comes. Now, that intelligence is watching. Right? And I eat wrong thing. When that intelligence is watching, listen to it. It's also aware of the causation of, which is the past. So intelligence doesn't neglect the cause. Is aware of the cause and the result. You won't get it. But it is not memory it is intelligence that perceives the whole movement of causation.
Watching, the same as intelligence.
Huh?
Is watching, the same as intelligence.
Watching?
There's no break there.
Yes, that's right. Watching, if you have understood the whole process of thought, is intelligence. Watching is intelligence, if you understand the whole movement of thought. No, don't twist words. I know, sir. I'm moving it away from it. Watching is intelligence. But mere watching is not intelligence. But watching the whole movement of the operations of thought. You understand? Seeing how it works. Haven't you done all these things before?
It's so clear what you are facing, but my question is, isn't there anything more?
More than intelligence?
Yes, there's something more.
Mysterious?
No, immensity.
Wait.
It seems so clear what you're facing.
No, sir. Let's begin slowly. Thought is measurable, isn't it? Huh? Be clear. Thought is measurable. I can measure thought. My thought is better, wider, nobler. You follow? Comparative. Is intelligence measurable? Huh? Yes? Wait, don't say yes or no. Let's find out. You see, your mind is so conditioned, you can't flow with it. I want to find out whether intelligence is limited, conditioned. Born in India, it's more intelligent than born in the West, or more intelligent because he's born in the West than in India. Is intelligence personal, impersonal? You follow? All those are measurements. And that measurement is thought. Thought is deciding whether it is personal or impersonal intelligence. Oh, come on, sir. Right?
We don't know what intelligence is, then.
Therefore, sir,
We don't know its limit.
no. Therefore, find out if you are watching with thought. Right? Don't bother about intelligence. You see, that's another trick. Find out how you are watching. Whether you are watching with thought. And most of us are watching with thought. Huh? The question is, hasn't thought to be silent when you are watching, right? No. Quite right. But the silence can only come when you understand the whole machinery of thought. Therefore, when you understand the whole machinery of thought, thought becomes quiet. And when it is quiet, intelligence operates. That's all. I understand. To you, that word intelligence has certain associations. If I use the word God is watching, you would object to that because you have other associations with that word.
Well, that's not quite. That seems rather silly.
Wait, sir, just see, I'm going to expand it a little more. If I say it is the higher self watching, there we are. Or if I was in India and the Atman is watching, then they would accept it. Therefore, we are not associating intelligence with any particular conditioning. The intelligence is what's the word? You cannot associate intelligence with anything. Then if you do, it's not intelligence. You've got it.
So it is this very intelligence that sees the association which thought is made.
That's right.
Now,
Sir, please, don't be so categorical. Examine it, play with it, go into it.
Sir, the mind looking, this awareness looking, sees a continuous flow or movement. And then it seems to stop at a certain point, and at that point the observer seems to come into being. Can intelligence come into being and out of being?
No, sir. Certainly not. It's like saying, when you are aware of danger, can you at moments not be aware of it at all? Huh? You're walking down the street and you are aware of one moment the bus is dangerous and the next moment you are not aware of it and you'll be killed. No, sir. We will. I can't hear it. Does intelligence have past? Is intelligence has intelligence a past and a future? No. Huh? Or is intelligence free of the past and the future? Now please be careful. Does intelligence only function in the present, independent of the past and the future? Which means, is intelligence out of time? Huh? That's right. Thought is in time. Right? Thought is time. And is intelligence time? So you have to look. May I go back what we began with? I must stop in a minute or two because I've been taped. I cannot go on more than an hour and 15 minutes. And I've nearly come to that. We began by asking, what is a harmonious life? We said, we more or less defined verbally, and what is described is not the described. The description is not the described. And we said, harmony, we live a disharmonious life, and not a harmonious life. And that's a fact. And the ideal is out. That's gone. Because I see the truth of the ideal. Now I've left with this, that I live a life which is not harmonious. And I see why it is not. It is contradictory and so on and so on. Then I say, who is watching all this? If thought is watching, it is still the past watching the present. And so there is division between past and the present. Then the past tries to overcome the present. Therefore there is resistance against the present. Therefore there is strain. So then, what is watching? Is there a watching which is not the result of thought? Right? Awareness of the thinking process.
That is the
Yeah, that's right. Go slowly. The past, if thought is watching, then there must be division. The past watching the present. Right? In that watching, there's contradiction. Therefore, there's conflict and all the rest of it. So is there a watching, please listen to it, without the past thought coming into it? I see that there is such a watching. And that watching is an awareness in which thought doesn't come into it at all. But I'm telling you, you can do it, not how do I know, do it.
Are you telling me or are you just stating a fact?
I'm just stating a fact. How do I know? Look, sir, how do I know? How do I know this exists? I'm saying, how do I know this exists? Now here, I've explained for an hour and a quarter in discussion with the nature and the structure of thought. Right? And when you watch that, the nature and the structure of thought, see where it is important, where it's not important, see the truth of that, you follow the truth of its operation and its non-operation, then there is a different kind of watching. That's all I'm saying. That watching has no time. It is not based on time. It's not what I discover. If you apply your mind, your awareness, you will discover it for yourself. Full stop. I am stating a... Oh no, I'm just stating a fact as I that.